free. With a good old captain named Sir John Compton. For years, sailed smooth and free. But sadly, Sir John Compton passed away. His team lost election that day, and the mantle passed over to Kenny and Team Labour. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I say that ball. If you hear it, Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know. We don't know. A beauty with feet years that few surpassed, and in her day she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully she fulfilled her sailors' needs, but labor was overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow, causing scandal and roro. Now things look dull, she's at a lull. She could barely sit on a hull, half we balling. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we sit on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. I say no. I say no, Captain, you tell me what to do. In her day of sailing, she was a friend, a true friend to one and all. And in her day, she sailed majestically. No government doing bubble. And yes, well, she always did her best to help out those in distress. Now she don't have money, we have to beg Joffrey. Labour boys don't share, none of them care. We must vote them out, I declare. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we sit on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know. We don't know. You tell me what to do. heating, no electricity. The oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship? Or shall we sit on it and perish slow? I say no, I say no. Team labor will have to go. I say no, I say no. Mama, we don't want them no more. I say no, I say no. Ale, ale, get out the door. I say no, I say no. Mama, we don't want them no more. I say no, I say no. We don't want them no more. I say no, I say no. And we don't want labor no more. I say no, I say no.
Special good night to all our viewers, all our listeners. We want to apologize tonight. Our system here in Studio One, we had a reset just about 1 minute to 8 while we were trying to get on, and therefore we had to wait on our system. That's the main system. We cannot go to Studio 2 without having that first phase. So we do apologize for to you, all our valued and family. Greetings to you folks. Here's hoping that you had yourselves a beautiful, beautiful day today. All right, let's hoping that all is well with you and your families. Let's hope that you are safe tonight at home. Tonight we have a lot of work to do. We are on the same time frame. It is 8:24 p.m. here in New York, and there in the Eastern Caribbean it is 8:24 p.m. and we're happy to have you all locked in, fired up, and ready to go. To our viewers on YouTube, we greet you, and to our Facebook viewers, we greet you also. To those of you watching through other media that we have set up, we want to thank you very much. There's some of you on your large screen TV. You are viewing there on YouTube. You have gone over to your smart television via YouTube, and you are beaming us loud and clear. All right, and so greetings, friends. Those of you who are listening to this in the future, we're happy that you are here. Please share the live. It is very important that you share the live. We have a great lineup tonight. Tonight we are not going to hold back. We are not going to apologize for anything that is said here tonight. We're going to speak the truth, and we are going to cause it what it may. And let me say to you, friends, I have a lot of stuff tonight that I really want to go through, and you got to bear with me because I did not want to overload the system, and so I loaded only like 4 at a time of our video clips. So I will clear out the 4, put in another 4. That's to show you how bad it is tonight. All right, so let me allow you to share. We want to get the share up to 100 viewers there on Facebook, so please share and invite your friends. There are folks who are still looking for us. They're a bit lost on the system. Please share, folks. Help us out. Share quickly so that we can get our numbers up. I can see our Facebook feed, our YouTube feed. It is climbing nicely and steadily. Thank you. Wow, we have just hit the 100 mark. You guys are not playing around tonight. You guys are all fired up too. Now, if you look on my above my shoulder, you're going to see the United Workers Party flag. It is being flown tonight, not half mast, but full mast, and there's a reason for that. And tonight we're going to discuss. And remember, our phone lines are open. Don't forget that. Our phone lines, they are open, and you can call us at any time in this show. Call us at any time in the show. All right, I give you permission to do so. It is not, you're not going to interrupt, but just call in. Let me get our banner up. For some reason, we have a real freeze on our main system. That's a hell of a freeze there. It knocked out some of our graphics. I'm not sure why that happened. It's not a normal thing. I've been broadcasting even before Facebook was came around. That's how long it is. And I've never seen such a freeze in my life. But we're going to get to work tonight. Tonight we want to look at crime in Vieux Fort. We want to also look at the SLP's position in opposition. We will go back as to 12 years ago and also 6 years ago in order to get an idea as to what is happening. I came across this song, Captain, the Ship is Sinking. It would appear to me that every time a certain political party is in authority, there is a SOS that goes out. And we're going to look at it. We will look at it. Why? There are a lot of songs that you can find out there now that speaks of the ruling government. And I'm not sure why. And it sounds bad. But we will look at it, and we're going to call out the hypocrisy. We want to look also, in order to build our case, and we will build a strong case. One, we're going to look at the position on gas price, their position on walking out of the house. We will look at their position on crime, especially Dr. Anthony. We must call him out. He cannot be we cannot cover him any longer. We cannot make excuse for Mr. Anthony any longer. His community is in a mess. No more excuse. No more nice guy. No excuse. If you have been the representative for Vieux Fort for all that time, and Vieux Fort is still having these kind of issues on the development, ghettos, and all those things, then you, sir, you are responsible for that community. It is considered to be a failed town. It's a failed community. It's a community in crisis. It is the only community in St. Lucia that have caused a government to call in outside forces. It is the only community in St. Lucia that have caused the police to retrieve at some point. It is the only community in St. Lucia that have caused schools to close, businesses to shut, sports events to be cancelled, church services cancelled. It is considered a failed state, a failed village, community, town, failed. And we cannot make any more excuses for it because it is causing people their lives. All right? So that's it for that. And then we're going to look at the United Workers' Party and where they are today, where they were and where they are now. And I am sure most of you would have heard of the Conference of Delegates held in Micoud yesterday, Sunday, the 12th of March. And we saw something coming out there. Let's get something from the community of Micoud. Okay, so we did not download that yet, but let's look at some of the main officers there. One, we have the Honorable Alan Chastney having full support of the United Workers' Party as the leader of that political party. It will be ratified on the convention on the 16th of April. By the way, I just want to let you know that Caribbean American News will be on the ground. We will be on the ground. There is no if and buts about it. By the grace of God, we're going to be there. We also have second in command, Brother Guy Joseph. We also have, and I just took out the three gentlemen. We have Mr. Tara Prudent, who has gotten the support of the United Workers' Party delegates to be the chairman of the United Workers' Party. Now, this is exactly the mix that most of the United Workers' Party supporters were asking for, and exactly that was delivered yesterday without oppose. None of them were opposed. There were no other names that were there. With all the noise we were hearing before, that there are persons who want to run and this and that, and with all the delays, the same three persons have been chosen by this party, United Workers' Party, to lead the work, to take charge of the work. And I'll tell you, to be in leadership at this time is a challenge. It's a tough thing, especially to deal with what we're having now. An airport that should have almost been far. You have a hospital that should have been finished. You have roads that are in deplorable state. You have healthcare issues. You have, you name it, you have crime. You have an entire community that is locked down with crime. And don't think that they're not going to be the regular financial trouble after 4 or 5 years of a party. Yes, you're going to have, that's a lot of work, friends. And so, yes, the celebration, you're celebrating, but I say to you, friends, that the celebration should not be long. It is time to get straight to work. As soon as the convention is finished, what needs to be done is that you need to have foot on the ground. You need to get to the people and get off of Facebook. Yes, you can do both at the same time, Facebook, but on the ground. You must never neglect. You must never neglect boots on the ground, all right? And so, again, to the Honorable Alan Chastney and to Brother Guy Joseph and Brother TP, we want to say congratulations to you folks. And I believe that the United Workers' Party, they're fired up and they're ready to go. They are fired up. Fired up. And they are ready to go. And so I'm going to ask you folks to continue to keep your party in prayer. All right? Keep it in prayer. It is okay to celebrate, but I'll say to you, like I've always said, the work has just begun. You've only just begun. All right? So I'm trying to pull something out here, so just bear with me, folks. I am like fish out of water tonight because of that reset. Okay, I believe okay, good. Okay, good. So we head back to our main system, and we are going to listen to an address. We will get back to the town hall. We have a number of pictures that we want to show you, a lot of stuff there. All right. We're going into the town hall later on for your celebration. You'll celebrate tonight, all right? One more day of celebration. Because I was not part of the celebration. I was very busy. And so tonight is my celebration time with the SLP. And I am drinking, I have my celebration here. This is not rum. It is not beer. So please don't think anything. So, and I'm very much okay. So I am celebrating. Cheers to the United Workers' Party. Cheers to you, Mr. TP, Mr. Guy Joseph, and we have Alan Chastney, all the others who have been elected. Congratulations to you. And we are celebrating tonight, but we have to work while we celebrate. All right? We're going to work while we celebrate. Yes, man. So some of you don't get any idea and be spreading the rumors that I'm drinking. All right? You don't know what in that bottle. That bottle is very pure. All right? So let's get to work. Now, most of you would have heard all the bloodshed and everything that took place there in St. Lucia I would say on from Thursday into the weekend, and it seems like there was absolutely no control, and there was no control. There was no control there in that area because a number of souls lost their lives. Now, let us get a report. Let us get statements from the Honorable Alan Chasney and the PRO of the United Workers' Party. All right? So let's get to work, folks. So we're going to take statements. One, this is from our PRO, Mr. Motut.
Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Our country is in crisis. In case you still do not know what all the rest of us now know, National Security Minister Honorable Philip J. St. Lucia is facing a crime wave of unprecedented proportion and severity. We need an unprecedented response to match the magnitude of the current mayhem. We have gone past the stage of mere talk. Immediate and decisive action is what is needed to curb the threat of this wanton violence, resulting in a spiraling homicide count. What is needed now is not speeches on police vehicles, training, or long-term plans that have yielded no results. The United Workers' Party has made some recommendations to government that have to date remained ignored. Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, what you should ignore is the source and not the advice. We are all in this together and under siege by gangsters and criminal elements. Among the suggestions made was the idea of zoning the country, as was done during COVID, when we referred to 758, 759, etc. Inasmuch as I personally resent restrictions, there comes a time when during emergencies and crises, it becomes an imperative. State-imposed curfews should be considered to regain control of our communities. In any case, we are already experiencing unofficial gangster-imposed curfew and restrictions as criminals have literally taken over our communities and our lives. This must be viewed, like COVID, as a threat not only to our lives, but also to our livelihood as a country. Given our heavily tourism-dependent economy, we must take heed. Let us not wait until the US or UK issues advisory to their nationals. Let us not wait until this brand of brazen criminal violence and gangsterism spread to our towns and communities outside of Beaufort. Like Dr. Kenny Anthony, the MP for Beaufort South, has admitted, the present approaches are simply not working and are not yielding results, unquote. Government must now engage all willing, law-abiding patriots with ideas and plans for a workable and effective approach. Again, the United Workers' Party stands ready to share ideas and plans that can make a difference. Bear in mind, there are only two sides to this national social, security, and economic threat, that of the criminals and the rest of the country that are law-abiding, peaceful citizens. Those who did not know before should have found out after what transpired on Independence Day, and if you still did not get it, what is now taking place has left no room for doubt. St. Lucia needs strong and decisive leadership in the face of this dark moment. The onus is on you, Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre, as Prime Minister and National Security Minister, to lead the charge in taking us out of the grip of this crime menace. If you fail to lead, you would have led us to the abyss.
All right, and that was the PRO, Brother Motut, there, issuing a statement, official statement from the United Workers' Party. And like I said to you, the United Workers' Party, they're already moving like a well-oiled machine. And this is not the flabber bus. No, this is not the flabber bus. This is the flabber train. And anyone who gets in its way, they will end up getting run over because the train is all greased up and ready to go. And I'll say to you, friends, at that convention that is on the 16th of April, then you would see an energized United Workers' Party like you have never seen before. And that's why we say to all, it is time to come together and stay together. No more distraction. Why? There are a lot of work that are out there to be done. And if you're supporting the political leader, it means that you've got to assist him. You've got to do your part. In other words, you got to avoid row. You got to avoid all the back and forth, fighting on the inside and all those things. It is time for you to stop. You are no longer on the Flabo bus. You are on the Flabo train, and you are heading to the right station. There is no need. All the major fights, yes, some of them were necessary in order to remove some of the obstacles that were in the path of the train. But now those obstacles are clear. All those who are on the train, these are your people. These are your soldiers. We will need all hands on deck in order to rescue this country, because believe it or not, the ship is sinking rapidly. All right? It is sinking rapidly. Okay? So let's go to a clip from the Honorable, my future Prime Minister, Mr. Alan Chastney.
In the last 72 hours, we've seen an unprecedented number of killings in the Vieux Fort area. 9 as I speak. So first of all, I want to express my deepest sympathies for those who have died, and very importantly to their immediate family and friends. I also want to give out prayers to the young boy who was also shot,
and hope that he has a speedy recovery. What has taken place in Vieux Fort and in the south has created panic and an unprecedented amount of fear. I can imagine.
All of us are fearful. What we need is prayers, unity, and strength. And so that this message really today is for our police officers to say to you that you certainly have my vote of confidence and that of many, many solutions. And we are depending on you. We appreciate that you're leaving your own homes and your own family members to come and defend us. But we really need the police officers to be strong, single-minded, and to help bring calmness in our community. I understand that there's some people who are resorting to evacuation of the South. But the reality is, we're a small island. So what's happening in Vieux Fort today, we have no idea what tomorrow is going to bring. So I'm appealing to community leaders, the churches, everyone, to play their part in giving people solace, giving people comfort, and to know that we're in this fight together. We have given recommendations to the government. Hopefully they will heed some of those recommendations. But in the meanwhile, civil society and community leaders must play a strong leadership role. And that role must include giving support and instilling confidence in our police officers to bring a sense of calmness and to bring this madness to an end. So on my part, I offer prayers, and that I intend to play my role as a leader and to try to bring some sense of calmness in this absolute sea of chaos that we're involved in St. Lucia right now. But we can make it through this. St. Lucia is better than what we're displaying. And it's very sad that the situation has been allowed to get to this point. But we, as a community, as a country, must come together and have a singular purpose. There is a difference between right and wrong. So my prayers are with you. Stay strong, St. Lucia.
Thank you, Honorable Chastney. That was the Honorable Chastney, the confirmed political leader of the United Workers' Party. And folks, I can say to you, that is what we want to hear from leaders. And that's what you call good leadership, one who sympathizes with the people and are there with them. And, again, congratulations to the Honorable Alan Chastney. And based on my dreams and predictions, the next Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Let's go over to the Prime Minister, the present Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Mr. Philip J. Pear. And this was from his first appearance after all the war that took place there in the bloodshed in Soufrière. This is what the Prime Minister did. Now, in this address, you did not see him standing behind the coat of armor with his national security people, his cabinet ministers, the police, and everybody else, all who are involved, even the the disaster preparedness people. Now, I am saying to you, that's what you call a command center. In a case like what is happening in View Fort, what was happening, you need to have the disaster preparedness people. You want to have the police commissioner. You want to have your medical people, the fire and the police, because the firemen are the ones who are going into these war zones to remove persons who are hurt. So the chief of the fire department should have been at a press conference together with the police commissioner and whoever is responsible for policing in View Fort, the zonal director, whoever you call them, command guy, should have been at a professional setting, not with a prime minister with short sleeve shirt, sitting, reading a script. There should have been a press conference with all these persons that I mentioned. That would have been professional. I would have clapped, I would have cheered the Prime Minister if he did that. But instead, because of social media pressure, they cook up something and throw it out at the people. And that's what the people deserve. Is that what they deserve? Well, you got to question yourself. And I would say, if View Fort have been electing the same persons over and over again, what they sow is what they reap. I'm not being harsh, I'm not being insensitive, but it is time for you to vote on the issues that are impacting your communities and your societies. That is exactly what we have been saying. That is exactly what we have been saying, and we've been saying it over and over again. Be an educated voter. In other words, understand the issues that impact you, your children, your family, and your neighbor. And then you vote. But you have failed leadership, and you put that same failed leadership over and over again, and you are expecting the same or a different result. And then when persons speak up, then you say to them, well, you're insensitive. You're supposed to be a Christian and listen in time of these great difficulties. Instead of sympathizing with the family, look at what you guys are doing. Well, during COVID, let me remind you, during COVID, when families were losing their loved ones and people were afraid and sick, you guys were out there threatening marches, rallies, and everything else. You were insensitive. And I will call out your hypocrisy tonight. You were insensitive. So don't come here and pretend like you're all holier than thou and you're some poet or something. Let's go to the Prime Minister's address.
My fellow St. Lucians, today, Saturday, 11th March 2023, our nation continues to grieve after yet another night of senseless gun violence in Beaufort. Our hearts go out to the people who lost families and loved ones who were killed or injured during these past days. I want to assure St. Lucians that we continue to take the issue of gang warfare seriously. We are working in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and the community to restore peace. Our children, the residents and citizens have the right to live and work safely anywhere in this country. Schools in Beaufort will reopen on Monday. I want to thank the medical and security officials who respond to these tragedies with bravery and professionalism. Today, I met with the top officials of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. The briefing focused on the carnage of the last 48 hours and the steps being taken to combat the gang-related activities and retaliation in the town of Beaufort. As of Thursday, March 9th to Saturday, March 11th, 7 localized homicides have been reported, apparently in reprisals to the killing of a well-known individual. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force responded immediately and has been deployed and stationed within the community for over 48 hours. Ammunition and firearms have been retrieved and persons arrested due to the tactical work of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. To date, we have taken the following actions to arrest the situation in Beaufort. The Regional Security System, RSS, and other assets have been contacted and will be on the ground early next week. 24-hour SSU patrol is being deployed in Beaufort. The police will be given more resources to assist in this upsurge of violence. Special operations will be conducted by the police. New legislation will be enacted to deal with the suppression of crime. I once again stress the importance of collaboration between law enforcement and residents.
The government will continue to provide support and resources to help the police restore peace. I ask for the support and cooperation of the public as the police set up their operations, particularly in Beaufort. No one wins when this situation is exploited for political gains. This is not a time for anyone to gloat, rejoice, or point fingers. It's not a time to make baseless statements which can only create more panic and fear. We are taking charge of the situation. We will succeed. We will build a safe and more secure society. We must fight these criminal networks called gangs and encourage our young people to reject their lifestyles. Especially in times of tragedy, we must come together as a nation. We must support one another and work together to prevent future acts of violence. We will not let fear, envy, and hatred divide us. We will stand together as St. Lucians and work towards a brighter future for all. Tomorrow, Sunday, March 12th, I will meet with some civil society and business leaders to discuss the current situation and seek solutions to the problems. It is time to act, and I ask for your support. There will be some difficult decisions to be made, and some strong actions will be taken to deal with these cowards and criminals. This is our country, and we will prevail. May God bless us all. I thank you.
Yes, friends, that's the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Philip J. Pear. And, you know, he's asking for the country to come together, but that's not what we see happening in the House of Representatives. That's not what we see in as a country. The willingness to put aside petty fighting and gesturing with the intention of besmirching the Honorable Alan Chastney. That's not what we have witnessed for the past few months. And all of a sudden, it is the right thing to do now to call for national unity. so my question would have been, why the opposition leader, why did you not invite the opposition leader to that meeting, emergency meeting that you had? Let's just say, because we don't know, you guys don't tell us much, so we have to assume. Anytime there is lacking information, then we are left to assume. And that's the society that we're in. People will start imagining things, just like you guys in the House with the United Workers' Party business. You imagine that there are persons that would derail the Honorable Alan Chastney from becoming the leader. You guys assume in the House that the Honorable Alan Chastney do not have the support of the United Workers' Party. You guys underestimated the United Workers' Party and their support, their strong support for their political leader. You underestimated it in the House. You assume. A lot of statements were made there. But let's go back. We will come back to that drama in a bit. But I just want us to stick on point here as much as we can. And I'm very much aware that there are a lot of hacks who came to watch. And I have looked at the stack and our figures, and we have more non-subscribers watching than subscribers. In other words, there are a lot of persons who are watching without coming in. And I'm saying to you, it is okay to come in to the platform. Don't stay out and watch. You can come in. Nothing is wrong with that. And share your opinion. I mean, if you think that we are saying something that is not right, just share your opinion. Be open. Here is a platform to interact and for you to speak your mind. I'm not going to block anybody or stop anyone. So please come on in and let's have a discussion. All right? Let's have a discussion. Don't stay out and hide behind Facebook and watching in secret. Come on in, man. Come on in. So let's go to a clip again from the Prime Minister, and that was a few months ago. This is when they were handing over some vehicles to the police. All right, I'm building a case here, so bear with me, folks.
The level of crime affecting the island, Prime Minister and Minister for National Security, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, remains focused on pursuing workable policy interventions to help the Royal St. Lucia Police Force extract criminal elements from the island's peace-loving communities.
No member in my cabinet has ever said that he'll commit crime on his own. Each cabinet member is fully behind the police, fully behind law enforcement, and fully behind the people of St. Lucia and with the people of St. Lucia.
Folks, I want you, right? Let me just interrupt. I want you to watch the face of the police commissioner. This was a few months ago. Watch her face carefully as the Prime Minister makes his statement, all right? And please listen for the Prime Minister pulling in petty politics into this fight, all right? Just follow carefully.
Ridding the streets of illegal guns and disarming the criminals are among the Pierre administration's top priorities.
But the police must work with the customs, and the customs must allow the police to work with them. We cannot work in silos. The customs must allow the police to work with them in the barrel business so we can stem, or we can try to stem the barrels, the guns that are coming through the barrels. So I'm calling on the Comptroller of Customs and the Commissioner of Police to meet together again so that the police can play a role in the barrel inspection together with the scanners.
Prime Minister Pierre has facilitated the provision of 2 additional patrol vehicles, which will expand the existing patrol fleet and improve the police force's operational and tactical capacity and further reduce response times.
And every member in this cabinet is fully behind the police force and condemns crime, every member in this cabinet. And we show it by our presence, and we show it by our actions. We show it by not saying useless words. That is how we show.
Okay, so that was a low blow. That one was a little it was not professional at the time, because I mean, you're addressing the nation, you are speaking on crime, and by the way, all of the United Workers' Party ministers supported the police. They are law-abiding citizens. They adhere to the Constitution of St. Lucia. So to make the statement that all of our ministers support the police, you are saying that the other persons who were leading did not support the police. And these are the type of diabolic word salad that these ministers put out there, causing more chaos in our society. All these code words that they're putting out. In other words, you're having a professional address, but you got to put some red meat for those who don't reason for themselves, for those who don't, in other words, they just hear a little something and they jump and start spreading it like fire. So you throw out that little red meat. All of our members support the police. All of Mr. Shastney's ministers supported the police officers. Many of them have police officers in their families. Many of them have police background. So to make such a statement is not even making sense. For me, it is not, and that's my opinion, and I hope it can be respected. I am sure some of you have other opinions that you would want to share, but for me, as a citizen looking in, it is not right. That's not the right place for that. You hear me? It is not. It is not, and I do not support that statement, all right? Good. Let's go forward.
By not uttering useless words.
So here we go again. Here is Mr. Pear going on a tangent, going back on his petty politics and childish games. Why would you make such a statement? You're handing vehicles over to the police. It is not the SLP handing police officers vehicles. It is the government of St. Lucia. So you got to know how to separate the government of St. Lucia from the SLP political party. And you have not learned how to do it as yet. You have not learned how to separate your SLP from the government of St. Lucia. So the government of St. Lucia, the people of St. Lucia, handed over vehicles to the police. But you don't have to bring your SLP politics into the handing over of some vehicles. I can understand if the SLP sponsored some vehicles to the police, fine, which will never happen. So I just want to remind you, sir, and out of a good heart, I'm reminding you that the vehicles that you all was celebrated a few months ago, they are vehicles that were bought by the people of St. Lucia and not the SLP party. All right, just a reminder. So this kind of petty, let's go back to this piece again. You said something there and I just don't like the tone.
That we commit crimes on our own. We show it by our actions. And we will fight the scourge.
Let's go back.
We'll fight the scourge. We'll work with the police.
No, there's a piece that I want you to hear.
We show it by our actions. And we will fight the scourge. We'll work with the police force. We'll work with the people of St. Lucia. And we call on the people of St. Lucia to work with us.
The new patrol vehicles were formally handed over to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force High Command on December 5th. The Pear administration continues to equip the Royal St. Lucia Police Force with the necessary crime-fighting tools, equipment, training, and resources to effectively combat crime and keep our communities safe.
It will strengthen the police force operational efficiency and tactical fluency, attributes necessary for the effective delivery of a results-driven policing service. I look forward to the expected improvements in the tactical performance of our operational teams. We can do more, we should do more, with the continued provisioning of the requisite law enforcement equipment and resources, we will do more.
The Pierre administration has taken the fight to the criminals. In July, the legislature amended the Firearms Act to broaden the discretionary authority of magistrates and judges to impose longer prison sentences and higher cash penalties on individuals.
Okay, so I'm not even going to waste much more time on that clip. We have some other clips that I really want to take you back to Mr. Kenny Anthony and some other persons, some clips that I came across from 12 years ago, 6 years ago. We're going to look at them. We're not going to hide them. No, sir, we're not going to do that. So the police were equipped. Now they're all ready to fight crime. We're all ready to fight crime, but not in Vieux Fort. Not in Vieux Fort. So we're bringing in the regional security forces to who is the advisors to the government when it comes to these matters? Who is advising? If there's a shortage of manpower, start training police officers. Huh? Who's going to drive those vehicles when you give it to them if you have a shortage? Who? Rats? The criminals? Who's going to drive them? Huh? Okay, so we don't have an answer. So let's go, folks. Let's go quickly over. And as I said, you got to bear with me. I'm taking this slowly but surely. You got to bear with me, folks. So let's go to an SLP town hall meeting. I believe that is already queued in. SLP town hall meeting. Let's hope that is it. Yes. And this is in Vieux Fort.
Happening, and who's losing are the parents, because most times the young boys dying on the streets, they even leave young children behind. The parents now have no ways to feed their young children. How can we, the people in Vieux, the single parents in Vieux, be part of the discussions that would see where we go with crime, especially in Vieux?
Concerned residents descended on the Beanfield Secondary School in Vieux Fort on Tuesday night for an SLP town hall meeting. This is the first time in nearly 6 years that a prime minister has presided over a town hall meeting in Vieux Fort. The South has been racked by deadly violent crime. Political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, Philip J. Pierre, contends the scourge is a grave region-wide problem.
There's a serious issue. Barbados, we do not hear it because it's...
Hold. So these Vieux Fort residents gathered at the SLP town hall meeting so that they can share their advice, their feelings, and everything else with the government. So this woman, and you can see how, you can look at the faces of these folks and you can see that they're scared. You can see that they're concerned about their community. But Mr. Prime Minister starts by telling the woman, Barbados. I don't think you all got that. Yes. Mr. Prime Minister started by saying to the woman, Barbados have crime. Now, here is a woman from Vieux Fort trying to get some answers because they are afraid. And rightfully so, because last weekend we saw why these people are afraid. Last weekend we saw it. Now, I am sure that many of them, those in power, would wish that these clips were not around. Because the people spoke to you guys. The folks asked the questions. They were concerned about their community. They were actually saying to you that our community, it is not in a good place. our community is not in the right place and we are concerned. In other words, what they're saying to the government is do something quickly or we will lose our lives. We will lose our families. Do something urgently. But we started by saying to them, Barbados and Castries and Jamaica. Let's go back, folks.
Barbados, we do not hear it because it's reported differently. In Barbados, almost every day there is some shooting. That doesn't mean that we do.
So, in other words, hold a minute, folks. In other words, folks, I'm sorry, but it's not a laughing matter, but I am just losing my thoughts just sitting here and listening to this. Let's go back over again. I'm losing my thoughts.
That doesn't mean that we're doing well here, you know. That's not an excuse. That's a fact. So I don't want you to, we have to try ways and means of...
So the solution at the beginning, I was a little confused, right? The solution at the beginning was, don't worry about it. Barbados have crime. Then it's just how they report it. So the solution to crime is how you report it. So I'm not even sure what the reporting system is in Barbados. If the government own all the press people, the press houses, the newspapers, the radio stations, I am not sure how they are reporting crime in Barbados. I do not know. And I would need some help. So this one of the solutions to fighting crime is how you report it. Just like Corona, don't tell the people how many folks are dying weekly. Don't tell them the amount of coronavirus in your country. Remember that started happening at some point where there were no more reporting. It is how you report it. That will solve the problem. It is how you report it. So be careful how you report crime. That's one of the solutions. Just look at it. So one of the solutions, please be careful how you report crime. All right? So let's go forward.
Crime in Viewfort, crime in... As if Viewfort...
So hold a minute. So he's Pappy showing the people crime in Viewfort, crime in Viewfort, crime in Viewfort. These people saw what was coming last week years ago. They saw it. They saw it, SLP. They saw it. And now you're mocking them. You're mocking them basically. Crime in Viewfort, crime in Viewfort. You're mocking them. And what we have in the streets, the blood of our people in Viewfort. The blood. A woman, innocent woman, in a canal. Her body blocked the water. The water started piling up on her head. Shot dead, going on her own business. In the drain, a young boy, 9-year-old, shot dead. The people were complaining. The people were giving you guys signal. They were saying to you guys, we need backup. We need help. This place is going in a very bad direction. And it's only a matter of time before everything falls down. Just a matter of time. But you laugh at them, you mock them basically. And you think, you mock them.
But people have this crime in Viewfort, crime in Viewfort, as if Viewfort is the epicenter of crime. That's not true.
Okay, good. So Viewfort is not an epicenter of crime, but it was shut down last week. This weekend, shut down. And I heard a report where businesses were told to close at a certain time. Schools were closed. Businesses were closed. What do you call that, sir? What do you call it now? state of emergency should have been declared. What do you call it that the regional security is coming into Vieux Fort? These Vieux Fortians were warning and they were asking questions. They were afraid for their lives. And all you guys were busy doing was cussing out Chastney on horses and the hospital and the airport. You guys were so distracted that you were not paying attention to the people. They were asking for solution. They were crying out for help. But no, you guys were busy in the house fighting one man. And by the way, that one man became victorious last weekend. And imagine, while Mr. Chastney came out victorious at the delegates meeting, Vieux Fort was in a state of lockdown, shut down, closed down, because blood was running the street. The same guy that you guys spent all your energy, you distracted yourself with Mr. Chastney. That is what is happening in St. Lucia. You guys have distracted yourselves with Mr. Chastney that you could not have seen these urgent matters that needed attention. And you know what you did? Instead of paying attention to Vieux Fort, you guys and crime and stuff in your country, you went peddling CCJ, another distraction. How is the CCJ going to help those people in Vieux Fort? How is it going to help people when basic cases on the island of St. Lucia cannot be heard for 3 and 4 years? Would you not think that we would have fixed that first? Fix our in-house situation first? Whether we have to hire more lawyers or fire some? Whether we have to make changes with national security ministers and policing? You went to change the constitution to take Mr. Jeremiah and increase his salary. You went to change the constitution to go to the CCJ. And now you're saying to the people that we will have legislation in the House. We will go to the House. You should have gone to the House a long time on that. That is what we should have been having town hall meetings on. The change of the constitution to deal stiffly with criminal activities in the country. But no, I can't talk. No, Flavos can't. Nobody else can talk, no. How do you do that? Pave the parking lot of the House of Representatives in Castries, the Boulevard, while potholes all over the nation. How do you do that? Your priorities are set straight? To me, it sounds like a system that is trying to feel their way. That's what it feels to me. And I'm just telling you my mind, folks. I am just telling you, I am just blogging based on what is out there in the news. You cannot blame me. Because if the parking lot of the House of Assembly is being paved, while all that resources you could have fixed. You could have blocked a lot of potholes in some areas, critical areas. The time you spent on CCJ, we could have been giving Jeremiah an increase of salary. All those times should have been spent securing the people of St. Lucia. Most of your time was spent cursing off Mr. Chastney. I did it. If you go online and you look at the sitting of the House, majority of the time is used to embarrass Mr. Chastney. Instead of focusing on the people's business, and then Vieux Fort just sneaked up on you. Because you say, well, no crime in Vieux Fort, not a crime in Vieux Fort. No wonder you guys could not have come out immediately and issue an immediate statement. No wonder you and the representative of Vieux Fort, Mr. Anthony, could not have come together and make a joint statement. You could not have done that. Why? Up to this day, both of you have not come together and issue a statement. You did the separate statements. Today's Monday. You guys have not come together officially and issued joint statement to assure the people of Vieux Fort, yes, we have police SSU coming there, and we have the regional security. Yes, we're going to set up tents if you have to in those areas. Set up roadblocks in the main artery. Set up temporary police stations around the place. These are things that need to be done urgently. Because these criminals will wait until you guys walk out from that place, whether it's 2 months from now or 3 months from now, and they will start doing what they're doing again. So there should be checkpoints going in and out of Vieux Fort, morning, evening, and night. Just like in Baghdad, if you're coming into Vieux Fort, you must pass through a stop. You must have your identification card on you. You will be subjected to stop and search. It's going to be uncomfortable for the citizens of Vieux Fort, but it must be done for their best interests. Have stop points. Put temporary toilets for the police officers and tents where they can take a little rest, take a break. Set up shop. Ask those thieving, whatless cable companies to give you all free internet so you can set up in all these checkpoints and charging stations for police officers. Give them the resources. Throw everything at it. Forget about CCG at this time. The monies that you're giving Mr. Sir Byron or whatever his name is, take that money and give it to the police officers to get the work done. The monies that you're using to pave the parking lot for the speaker and all the others who don't even deserve, they deserve potholes as far as I'm concerned. All those researchers should have been sent. The party that you had at your home, all those money should have been sent over to deal with what is happening in St. Lucia. Your priorities, sir, it is messed up and the people are seeing it. Now let's go back because I'm ranting too much. Who can blame me?
That violent crime is not unique.
Look at the people face.
There's too much crime everywhere in St. Lucia.
Listen to me. Again, the people, they're speaking about Vieux Fort, but he is speaking about everywhere else. That town hall should not have been so long, you know. Deal with Vieux Fort. They are asking you about Vieux Fort, not Bridgetown in Barbados. Barbados have an army. They don't bring in the RSS. No, sir. They have an army. And you have the Royal Barbados Police Force. So they don't want to know about Barbados. Jamaica has an army too. They have helicopters, they have tanks, but Jamaica have everything to fight crime. They have all sorts of different units, marine units, diving units, all sorts of units. So when the people of Vieux Fort ask you as a government, how are you protecting us? We are concerned. They're crying for help, and you're just pointing Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, Castries, everywhere else, and they're sitting there and like, what is going on? What is going on? And I'm asking the United Workers' Party, it is not too late to get to work. Get Mr. Herman Gale and all the others, get former police officers, get your lawyers, get people together, go into Vieux Fort, United Workers' Party. Put a plan for Vieux Fort to liberate these people and to lift them out of this mess. It is reachable. You can do it, United Workers' Party. Sit down, put a task force together yourself, and put a plan to fix Vieux Fort. I know Mr. Chasney had a big, bold plan that would have cleaned up Vieux Fort. But they were told that Mr. Chasney wanted to make Vieux Fort into Miami. Are you kidding me? Don't you want Vieux Fort to be like Miami? With police officers everywhere? On bikes, on foot? You guys protest the helicopter pad on a hospital. And you say if they want to turn Vieux Fort into Miami. I would be happy for Dennery to be turned into Miami. More activities, more police officers. They will have to step up on the security of Vieux Fort. Half of those communities, they will have to break them down. They will have to relocate them. They will have to move all them galvanized and all them mess you see over there. But no, you prefer your shacks, you prefer your ghetto over Miami. So I would ask the United Workers' Party to put a lot of emphasis on Vieux Fort, put a proper plan together, a bigger and bolder plan to transform Vieux Fort, because I will tell you, Mr. Kenny Anthony will not do it. Too late. Too late, sir. If they vote him in again, crap will smoke their pipe. So it is time for the United Workers to get to work. And remember, your fight is not on the inside. Your fight is on the outside. Don't do like the Prime Minister. They ask you one thing, Vieux Fort, you're going on Barbados, you're going in Castries. But let's go back to Herod, because some of you will say that I'm just adding stuff and the Prime Minister didn't say that. But let's go back, folks.
There's too much crime everywhere in St. Lucia. There is too much crime everywhere in St. Lucia. Before they used to say Marchand. Then they used to say Mondi.
Okay, so he gone from Vieux Fort to Marsha, Mongdido. But Mr. Prime Minister, what do you mean they used to say? People used to be afraid to walk in the graveyard and all those places. What nonsense is this? You are a failed representative in your community too. How did we get to Marsha? How did we get to Castries from Vieux Fort? Right now, Castries is peaceful, Dennery peaceful, Grosile peaceful. Let me tell you something. Baghdad is in Vieux Fort. That's where the fight is now. How did you get down there? Let's go. Let's go, because we have other clips to play.
Before they used to say Marchand. Then they used to say Mondidon. Everywhere, there's too much crime everywhere. So let's not center crime as if we have... What's happened is that we have an issue of crime that we have to deal with. And then no one knows. Because we've tried. No one can tell you definitively what is the answer to the crime problem.
I swear I didn't hear what I heard there. That no one can say exactly. I don't understand. Let me just say something to you opposition leaders. When you are in opposition, future opposition leaders, let me say to you, when you are in opposition, don't spend all your time talking foolishness. And this is for future, because we're going to have some future opposition leaders. So when you are in opposition, be careful what you say. Don't waste time. Study the country and the issues in your country. Because I don't understand your political party preparing for elections. You are the most readied. your party is the best, but you guys never even put a study together on the crime situation in the country. How were you prepared for elections? Were you even preparing? Because I know it was a lot of mépris, and the main theme was chaste, and guy, volley. So you got distracted again with Guy. You got distracted again with Mr. Alan Chastney, ain't it? So you forget to study the crime situation in the country? Because I would think that when you are a prime minister in waiting, like that's what they considered you to be, a prime minister in waiting. And bear with me, folks. I need to get the Facebook chat on so that I can see what's going on here, because I am a little concerned. Wait. I think I'm watching the wrong thing. Just bear with me, folks. I don't want to lose my thought, right? But what I'm saying, folks, what I'm saying. Oh, no. I went onto somebody's show that I should not have gone onto. It just popped up. But just bear with me. Because, honestly, I am concerned. I am very concerned. Bear with me, folks. Good. Okay, now I'm seeing the comments. I was not seeing your comments, so you have to forgive me, folks. And we will look at it very shortly. So let's go back to our discussion. So you would expect that a party in waiting to grab power, that they would have a plan for healthcare, they would have a plan for crime, they would have a plan for the youth, they will have a plan for the roads. They would have, they would sit and they would say, look, these are matters that we got to deal with urgently. Crime and also medical, because that's a problem in St. Lucia. But it seems like that was not done. I guess Shastney was the agenda, and Mr. Guy Joseph, by the way, Mr. Guy Joseph is enjoying himself, and the United States people have not arrested him as yet. And I'm sure he have come through JFK a lot. But let's go back to the story. All right, let's go back. No distraction. We have some more clips.
Pierre says neighboring territories with more resources, including criminologists and social systems, are
Caller, you're on the
confounded by
air. Let's stop this. We have a call on the air. Caller.
Caller, you're on the air. Good evening, Mr. Garfield.
Oh, my mother.
Very informative. Very, very informative. I like the clips of good back. Before I see what I actually called for. Mm-hmm. I need to make a statement about. I've always said that I need to say that whenever the opportunity presented itself. I've heard this statement said over and over again that the Alan Chastney government hated or did not like the police. This is really and why this hurts me, because it touches me personally. Personally, because I know. You're married to your wife.
Yeah.
When you're in bed, you'll discuss it. If you and as you are a pastor, I'm sure that when you took up your role and you have to be discussing what you're going to talk on and whatnot, you'll discuss it in bed together. They always say that. Alan Chastney's wife, and I've watched people ridicule. I've heard these government ministers ridicule the contribution that this woman made to this country, to the policemen and the firemen of the country. And people ridicule that and does not give this the proper recognition that it deserves. This woman, in watching her husband become the prime minister, took it upon herself to decide that maybe in talking to him that she's going to support the policemen and the firemen of this country.
Right.
To me, she was what I call a female modern day Robin Hood. She knew how to solicit the wealthy to get them to give her things to auction, items to auction. And on top of that, if that was not enough, she would charge for her balls, all the balls, including the Prime Minister's different balls, Independence Ball and what all, $500 a ticket. Now, you know that is just for the rich.
Wow.
Because there's only a small percentage of our country that is rich. The majority of the people barely making it. You think the little Malawi or the little middle class person can go to these things? It's the rich people that can go. And these balls were not just rich people going and Alan Chastney and his wife having balls and for rich people or using government funds to have balls to where the rich and their friends who are rich can come to. No. This was rich people bringing in, paying for those tickets, coming and pay huge sums of money for auction that she would collect to use for the police and the firemen and other charitable things, benefiting the country that would ease the burden on the purse of our taxes, government funds. You understand?
Yeah.
I don't know if people don't understand it, but I watched something that happened at this Independence Day when they invited all the little ordinary man to it. And the theme that was used is that the Prime Minister would not, if it was the Chastney government that was in power, you all wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But you all are there free.
That's right.
You all are there free. But when I went and I carried my sons and whoever, I had to pay $500 per person to attend.
Wow.
For her to take that money and use it. And then to hear these people keep saying this thing. I have never, and I was there with John Compton, from John Compton. I have never seen a Prime Minister's wife did the kinds of things that I saw this lady did when I came in for only 3 years of their 5 years.
Wow.
I was astonished at the things she did. Why did she do it? She wanted to support her husband. She wanted to look for a way where she can contribute to this country. The country that they love. These are wealthy people.
Yeah.
The government didn't make them wealthy. The country didn't make them wealthy. The Diboles and the Chastneys were already wealthy people. Now, we didn't give them their money. From what I understood and what we know about Old Man Chastney's background, these people came from nowhere and worked their way up.
Right.
Do they just take it and give it to you? Do they just give it to us because because you don't have to look it?
Well, we're pretending like we don't know that.
Yeah, but this woman did that. His mother and the Miku South people can tell you, up to a day like today, this lady would give and give and give and do in Miku South. His father gave us the secretariat free of charge. And I'm telling you something, why I'm saying that to you, son.
Yeah.
I am, in all my life, while I have been a strong, hardworking Flabo for this party, the only role I have ever been interested in taking, I've always been a person working in the background of the party, but the only role I ever wanted was that of a trustee. And trustees are the only people who stay for 4 years before they are re-elected or they give up the role, okay, or they're not elected again. And when I became a trustee, and I'm the only female trustee, and I'm the chair of the trustees. Trustees are caretakers of the assets of the party. You understand?
Yes.
And what is the greatest asset of any organization? It's people. You understand? And I care about the base of the party, the officers of my party, the supporters of my party, the people that do of my party, and I take that role very seriously. And hence the reason, and I'm coming to why I called, why I went out and the very first sitting of the House after elections that Alan Shastney attended. And when I listened to the MP of Castries North and the MP of Castries Central, and you all remember that famous house sitting, what they did to that man and said to that man in that house. As a trustee, as a person, I couldn't take it. And that is when I came out, first time I came out vocally. I became vocal. And I have been lambasted. And it's something went into me, because normally I would not expose myself like that. But something went in me then and said, you stand up to this nonsense. And I went to my base. I went down to the base of my party, because I had been hearing the whisperings. But when I hear these men, the things they said, and tell this man, you will be destroyed within your party and your ship is sinking, and they gave it to him. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I just couldn't take it. So the whisperings I had heard, there seemed to be some validity to it. So I did my reconnaissance, and I got my base, and I got my information. And I put myself there, and I made this commitment. You are a trustee, then fight to save your party. Fight to save the assets of your party. And I recruited and restored so much as I could have restored and Paul, without any word to Alan Shastney, any command from him, any encouragement from him, not a word he didn't even know. And then I realized I was here, doing it here on the base, but I needed somebody else to assist me. And that is when I turned to Minerva Ward. Okay. And we went together. And if you go back for these early days of 2020 or 22, we were cut, hit, burnt, thing from in and out. Outside from those who knew we were fighting them and exposing, and inside from those that, and I was there facing them. I was on an executive, and never in my life have I seen anything, not worse because I'm still on the executive. I'm the chair of the trustees. But when I saw, you would never believe the type of abuse and insults and humiliation I had to go through on that executive from those amigos and that wayward head of our party. And I realized why those guys made that statement in the house. And I said, okay, that's going to end. And you know how it's going to end? The base is going to end. Yeah. If our base are informed of what's going on inside, they are going. And I didn't care. We didn't care, in fact, who insulted us, who called us, who accused us of causing friction and division in the party. It didn't matter, because we knew that there was no division. What there was people that were going to sink the ship and destroy Alan Shastney. And you know what my greatest fear? When I became really fearful and I really turned on and got prayer warriors to help me stand, is when I thought that Alan Shastney couldn't take anymore. He was going to give up because he was being abused so much. Yeah. I was always fearful. Yeah. I was always fearful that he would just give up while we were still fighting for him. And yesterday, Garfield, when I am sitting on that stage in Miku North, I became so emotional because one, I was vindicated. We were the ones that were calling all the names and saying that the people that we were attacking, or not attacking but exposing, that we were wrong and everything, and we were so correct because they all, from one way or the other, jumped out themselves and our base took them over and saw the truth for itself, because people on the ground got information and they were feeding us with it. And when I saw the way the base behaved, it doesn't matter who nominated Alan Shastney for political leader, but the fact that I saw those people were on their feet, Garfield, it was something to see. No way that anybody, and if Alan Shastney did not feel vindicated in the other times when he was made political leader and they were saying, oh, the Shastney spend money and this and that and that. I know for a fact that there was no way of that. These people were coming in, they were ready to say to St. Lucia, to the St. Lucia Labour Party, to the detractors, to anybody who was willing to hear, that we are standing there, and to me, they were even militant.
Wow.
They were even militant, like, you were not going to put Alan Chastney there. We were ready for yours. That kind of attitude. I became, I'm on that stage, and it was taking everything in my power to try and keep me seated. I wanted to jump up on the desk at the front and scream and shout like I was going crazy. Because I saw the vindication that the base loved Alan Chastney, that Alan Chastney's ship was sinking, that the people, the flubbers of St. Lucia were misguided, they were fooled, they were traumatized,
well,
they were confused.
That noise was actually from the outside, from the Labour Party, actually.
From the Labour Party, but don't forget that the Labour Party was saying all kinds of things when the MP left. Remember, the way the MP left was a significant reason why they lost the election. Remember, this election wasn't lost because people voted for the Labour Party. The people just didn't vote.
They didn't vote. And I actually looked at I had a look at some of the reports, and that is exactly what you're seeing there.
No, but as well as there, this is the fact that anybody can look at the number of registered voters, those that voted, and a 6,000 lead does not make you. The people just didn't vote, but they were traumatized, they were confused, they didn't know where to turn or not. And remember, the United Workers' Party was not one that was out there defending all the rhetoric that was being said by the SLP.
That's right.
Okay? And so after they weren't doing that, when this thing came out by the MP from Castries Northeast, the people became just shocked. I think they were shell-shocked. But that wasn't bad enough. Listen to me, Garfield. You can have enemies from outside telling you things and doing you things, you can take it. But when your wife and your brother and your sister stop giving it to you too, let me tell you something, pal, nothing hurts. That's like a hot red knife searing your heart.
That's right.
Okay? And it's a fact that those people that were sitting on the executive of the party were I'm not talking about the majority. We know who they are. Their names have been mentioned. They are out of the party now, so we know that. They did not want to see the side of Alan, so they demonized him. They created all kinds of lies about him. They said the worst thing that wasn't true, and people were just drinking it up.
Wow.
So we know it wasn't true. So what did we have to do? We had to fight and break that kind of thing and tell the base, look, think for yourselves.
And that's what
look at this thing. Look at what these people are.
And that's why it appeared.
Showed that they did.
Right, because that's why earlier it appeared. That's why earlier, Doc, it appeared that as though they were infighting, deliberate infighting on the inside. But it's very clear now that persons were fighting for the life of this party, because you had persons who were given the life support basically of the party, and they had that thing held hostage.
But that's what I'm telling you.
They were trying to squeeze. Right.
It was people who they were in league with the Labour Party. That is why the gentlemen stood up in the House and said what they said, because they knew what they knew. Okay? And as a result of that, they were holding the party hostage, so there would be we would not have what we have, no delegates conference, no national council, no nothing. Until Alan Chastney is gone. It was not about flub, it was about getting rid of Alan Chastney, one man. Because you know why one man? Because this one man is whom they fear. This one man does not need St. Lucia's money. He does not need nothing from St. Lucia to make him grand and important. He is already that. He is a man that comes selfless to give. And therefore, that was a threat to them. And they didn't want the people to recognize and understand that.
But Doc, they actually made Mr. Chastney more popular among his base than anything else.
Well, at that time, my dear, everywhere was silent. Silent. You weren't hearing anything getting up to defend him until we became viciously, we became like them. I had to change and transform myself. And we had to fight fire with fire. And we had to fight and be fearless and bold and don't care what they say, what they said. And they did send. They sent out their ammunition, their trucks, their tanks. their bulldozers, everything at us. And if you go back and remember what happened to us on Facebook, I got it, and me taking it, who came out for the first time, they gave it to me, but we had to be bold and fearless to take it. This is a different era. This is the era of social media, radio, electronic media. This is a time where, so what I did when Minerva handled that, I went on the ground. And I used my base, and there were a lot of people on the base, on the floor. I mean, I didn't even know them. Imagine only when I go to National Council. And yesterday I was at the delegates conference, and people like Catherine St. Bernard and a whole set of
my
them
friend Catherine. Catherine is there. Yes.
And all of them, and Honeycomb, and all these people who just came to the. I did not know. I've never met these people, and they all came up to me, wanting to take pictures and kissing me and saying, these people, I got them going as fighters on the ground and reconnaissance, getting information, bringing it back for me. And we strategize in how to hit and informing our base that those things that are being said about Alan Chastney is not true. And I am on the executive, I was putting it out there, telling them that these guys on the executive are fighting against Alan Chastney, and they will destroy our party if we don't stop them. They will destroy it. And they were in there abusing me, insulting me until I was given the bloodbath threat. Remember that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. That was something.
It wasn't enough to abuse me at the executive meetings and tell me to get out. I was insulted. I was treated badly, told to get out, come in. I mean, you don't have a clue what was done to me in there. But I never gave up. You don't give up when you think that God is telling you to stand up and do something. And I felt vindicated yesterday when I see the way these people got up.
Yeah.
All ran on their feet as if they wanted to jump up on the chairs and march forward and say, Alan Chastney, man, and nobody else. That was it. Done.
Well, he's the man that the SLP are actually afraid of him, basically. If you look at the attacks that are being loaded at him, there's a clear indication that he is indeed a threat to their power.
No, but Garfield, they were trying to make St. Lucia think that the people did not want him. They were trying, you heard them in the house, they kept on saying he wasn't wanted, he wasn't needed.
That was psychological.
They didn't want him, they wanted out.
They were just fighting a psychological warfare against the party people.
But yesterday, it was clear and unequivocal that the people are with Alan Chastney. And many times you'd have heard Alan Chastney himself said, I don't want to turn behind and you're not with me. Because somehow in his mind, probably, maybe he thinks, that maybe, well, the people tell him to, we're with you. If you had a doubt that we are with you, look at here today. When he came off from the mic, from thanking the people, he turned and he came and he called me and he saw I was totally overwrought emotionally. I moved away because I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak because I saw we finally got there. And that team came in. I remember, and people didn't put a team in just people that, you just say you full of but they never hear you, they never see you, and all of a sudden you just show up. No, this base of people are saying, if you flub, we want to see you, we want to hear you, we want to know you care about our party.
Yeah.
Because how long, weren't you always seeing Dominic Fede on the air?
Dominic and also Guy. Yes, Guy Joseph.
You always heard Guy Joseph. Guy Joseph was on all liquor shows, right? You always saw him. You always saw, you always heard TP going around the constituencies talking. And you always heard him on his show putting out information and defending his party and Alan Chastney and giving us information. You always know. So the people decided that this executive, we want people who don't just talk the talk, but they walk the talk. And that's what they did yesterday. That is what is significant. You will hear the rhetoric coming up later on. Don't worry, SLP will be attacking that just now. But the people need to, others who have stood on the side need to understand that the delegates put people in there. And that's why they were unopposed, because these are people, they watch a political leader who stood up and took all the blows, took all the insults, the humiliation, and he stood up. He doesn't need St. Lucia. He doesn't need the St. Lucia United Workers' Party. But He loves them, and they showed him that we appreciate you and we will stay with you. They showed everybody that the team we put in there is a team of workers, people that can work, people who talk the talk and walk the talk. And I was so moved, and that is what I know. And that was my first post to my Flabo base, was to say to them, I congratulate you for what you did, for showing St. Lucia, for showing the naysayers, for showing the St. Lucia Labour Party, and all those who are sitting on the fence and on the side note, you're showing them that you are with the United Workers' Party and you're with Alan Shastney, and you stand without a doubt that he is your leader. He is who you want and nobody else. And I thank them for that. And I said to them, now we begin to fight. Now we begin the war. And I hear you keep saying about infighting. We don't have that. We were fighting against the people who wanted to break the party and break Alan Shastney. There's no infighting in the United Workers' Party now. In every family, right there in your home, you and your wife disagree on something. So there will be disagreements, but there is nothing like the kind of sickness and malaise that we had. And I said to them, the ship that they said was sinking, we threw all the rats overboard. And that ship is now sailing with we put out our guns on the side, those warships, and we are coming fully armed now. Flabo base is ready. I saw them. You had to see that. And if they don't know, they should have been there. They should have sent their moles to come and sneak for them to see. Flabo base is ready. They are hungry. And they're pushing their leader. Let us go now. They have only one thing on their mind. Saving St. Lucia, cleaning this country from the hemorrhaging that is going through, and getting rid of the St. Lucia Labour Party, who has been holding power on a measly 6,000 persons win. We need to put them to bed and put some peace in this country once and for all. Nobody. And when I stand, I feel a vindicator. I feel good. I stand up and I love the base. And I say to my base, congratulations, Flabo family. You did it. You showed them. You have given Alan what he needed. You gave the team what they needed. Now, team, that has been placed in your hands. You better don't let down your base. The same way they stood up with you, the same way they'll turn against you. You stand with your base and you go marching forward and do the work that you have been mandated to do, and you see the support you have with it. And me, the soldier, I will keep plodding along behind, watching, looking, waiting to see. I working on the sideline to see, and in the back to see if any kind of stragglers trying to sneak their little way in, to stamp on their head and kick them out. None of that. We have no time for that anymore. We are a party. As what we say, we are workers. Workers' Party. Brilliant show tonight. Thank you very much for letting me say this little thing. But I need more people to support and give that woman. While you keep praising Alan Shastney, I hope the police feel very, very, very sorry, and they're very sorry now for the way they turned their back on the generosity of Raquel Dubulé Shastney. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
I stop talking now. I continue listening.
Thank you. That was Dr. Fletcher there. Thank you so much for being here with us. But folks, we are almost out of time. What we will do is that you got to advise me if we can do another 5 minutes. Let me know, because I wanted to show you something from Miss Dr. Kenny Anthony on crime before we leave. We will do the other clips that I have tomorrow. They're a very serious clip, and there's an indictment on the St. Lucia Labour Party and their track record on crime on St. Lucia on a whole, the management of the country. And I would say to the police right now, you do not have a first lady who is supplying you with office furnitures and supplies. The Honorable Alan Shastney's wife, Miss Dubulé Shastney, she was having fundraisers, and so I'm not even sure what was the fight about, the support the idea that Mr. Chastney and his family do not support the police, that is something ridiculous that we should actually, let's flush that statement. Let's flush it. Okay, so let's go over quickly, folks, let's finish this clip and then we will do the Kenny Anthony clip. We are exposing, we're going way back in history.
Parents, school, private sector, police enforcement, clubs and volunteer organizations, faith-based industries, NGOs. It's a collaborative effort to deal with the crime issue.
Residents also questioned the Prime Minister on the status of the Vieux Fort police station, whose long-standing occupational issues are still outstanding.
Needed less than $200,000 to repair the work in the Vieux Fort police station. But there was a policy that opposition seats, the government does nothing in the seats of the opposition. So they allowed it to deteriorate. All issues arose from the station and the police had to vacate. If at the time, the government, I'm not making any excuses, I'm speaking of the fact. If the government at the time had done the repair.
Okay, so he's going to be blaming Chastney, and the people really don't have time for that. Half of those persons in the room tonight, they're afraid, they're concerned, they're in hiding, they got to be inside at a certain time before sundown. They are fearful to walk the streets of Vieux Fort. They don't care about Chastney and didn't do this and didn't do that. The people are asking you, sir, what are you doing to secure us today? They don't want to hear about Barbados, Castries, and Soufrière. They're talking about their situation. Local politics they're talking about that affect their communities. That's what they're asking. So the answer would be a straightforward answer. We are doing our best. We are going to finish the police station. We are going to increase foot patrol, police on bicycles. Bring in bicycles. Some of these police, some of them for sure are lazy. They're belly big. They're full of fat. They just sit down watching TV. Sit down behind a desk, just writing nothing. Get bicycles and put them on bicycles to put them in groups of 2 bicycles. Go do bicycle patrol. Get them to work. Tell the people that's what you're going to do. Tell them you're going to increase security cameras all over Vieux Fort. Tell them you're going to have roadblocks. Tell them that you're going to have checkpoints. Once you're coming into Vieux Fort for the next 6 months, you have to pass through a checkpoint. You must. Going out and in, you have to. You must. You ain't leaving Vieux Fort. In order for you to leave Vieux Fort, you got to go through the bush. And if you go through the bush, our dogs will get you. Well, there's no dog. I forgot. You all guys said the dogs were too expensive. So there's no dog. I do apologize. But those are the things you want to say to the people. Tell the people that you discontinued the police canine unit, which would have been very handy in the fight. A matter of fact, what you should have done, Mr. Prime Minister, is to increase the amount of canine units that you have in the country. Triple it if you have to. No money is too much money to secure your people. Do you understand that? Listen to me, I look forward to finding out from the government, and I will, the cost of this CCJ whole thing that is going on. The cost. How much does it cost taxpayers? And I am sure it's going to cost you enough money that you could have secured Vieux Fort. I am positively sure. But who am I? I'm just a talker here. I don't know what I'm saying. But let's go quickly to Kenny Anthony and then we'll close.
Anthony has called for a major overhaul of the police high command as part of efforts to bring down the crime rate. Dr. Anthony spoke at a political meeting of the Labour Party last evening. Here is DBS's Jason Hunningseed with more.
According to Dr. Anthony, crime has been the biggest failure of the government, and he believes that part of tackling the issue of crime is a radical...
Now, hold a minute. This is Kenny Anthony, 12 years ago, speaking on crime, and he's saying that the United Workers' Party failed on crime. So if the United Workers' Party 12 years ago failed on crime, no state of emergency was declared, no town was shut down, no regional security forces came in, no schools had to be closed, no banks had to be closed. If they had failed 12 years ago, then what do we call today? This weekend, past weekend, what do we call it? But let's go back to Mr. Anthony. He will tell us. He will explain to us.
Part of tackling the issue of crime is a radical overhaul of the police high command and police force.
So if we want to tackle crime, one of the first things that we have to do is to deal with the gangs head on. But go and ask the Royal St. Lucia Police Force whether they have a specialized unit inside the police force to deal directly with the gangs. Murders in Jamaica declined after the Dudas affair. One of the reasons for that.
But hold, I don't understand, honestly. All these experts on crime in the SLP, and they still don't have a plan for crime after 12 years? Mr. Anthony just gave a plan. The man just explained what he would have done to reduce crime, but yet his own community was shut down during the weekend because of crime. Marco Panza. Since when that's my role?
How you mean what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Mr. Speaker, I realize for a long time you want to be part of the debate. Since when that's your role? Since when that's your role?
In my role, so let me shut up and play the clip. You're right. Mr. Guy Joseph, I listen to you.
In the Jamaican Police Force, a specialized unit to focus on the gangs.
So wait, so 12 years ago, Mr. Kenny Anthony is saying that they need to have a specialized unit to deal with the gangs. Now, Mr. Kenny, are you not a senior member of the Labour Party? Are you not representing Viewfort? I am confused, folks. Ma'am, why me? I am confused. Why is me? Let me go back again. We closing on this, you know.
On the gangs. We are in a new age.
The appointment of police selective committees within communities which will monitor the work of police officers are part of the SLP's plan to deal with the issue of crime. The opposition leader also spoke of the alleged altercation between Prime Minister Stephenson King and the Housing Minister Richard Frederick.
Why is it coming from the members of the police force? Why? Why is it that the rumor started in the bowels of the police force? Why? Because they were ashamed? Because they were ashamed? I'm not saying that Richard Frederick slapped Stephenson King.
Okay, so I'm hearing that Stephenson King got a slap from a government minister. I mean, I had to go back 12 years ago. A lot of stuff was happening, folks. A lot of stuff was happening 12 years ago. What have changed? Where are all these ideas? You were prime minister. You're a district rep for Viewfort. Where are all these ideas? You're a lawyer. Where are all these ideas? And we must stand here and praise you as one of the best minds on the island? Why is Viewfort a failed community? A failed district? Why? That's the question. And the hypocrisy is that those elite will come to tell us we are underestimating the brother and we are doing this. But look at the community. Look at the amount of blood that have flown in that community and all the ideas in opposition. only in opposition, I realize that these guys have all the answers. It's like they go, they take Holy Communion one Sunday, and they wake up as geniuses. The light goes off in their head, and their path very clear. When you get into power, you can't see anything. You bazodi. Ubazodi. Well, ma'am, let we go back then. Bam way.
Because they were ashamed. I'm not saying that Richard Frederick slapped Stevenson King. I'm not saying Richard Frederick punched Stevenson King. All I'm saying is that
if the man punched the man 12 years ago, the man should have been arrested. But you're just speculating. I don't know if it's rumor, whatever you're trying to do there. Maybe you're just playing politics. Because if you are accusing the brother of punching Stevenson King in his face, and all three of you sitting in the same cabinet 12 years after, my ma'am. Excuse me. Y'all go.
I've never seen a man move with such speed to defend himself.
Dr. Anthony questions the reason why the government, according to him, wants to only discuss crime now on the eve of a general election. For the DBS News World, Jason Hollandseed reports.
Now you see, it's close to the elections, you know. Close to the elections, they're coming out with all the best ideas. See? Who should be wherever I go? Y'all won. More mem. Manita. Anyway, folks, let me play something for y'all to enjoy. More mem. Right now I celebrated, and I'm drinking Christian drink, because the United Workers Party, they're on the move celebration. You all celebrated last night.
Sailing the Caribbean Sea with a good old captain named Sir John Compton.
Cheers.
For years.
Cheers to unity.
Free. But sadly, Sir John
Cheers to the United Workers Party and their success.
His team lost election that day and the mantle passed over.
Cheers to Advance Win. Party, government in waiting. United Workers Party. Brother Anson, party in waiting. KKRR, party in waiting.
We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it?
Reverend, that's a Christian drink. It's not our please. I don't drink.
We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know. We don't know.
Hey, but say before we go, say Bulla Fashe. Listen to me. These people are so mad that you guys had your delegates convention yesterday. They are so mad that you elected or you throw your endorsement at Mr. Shastney and TP and Guy and those. They say, Bulla Fashe. Yo Fashe. Yo Fashe Modo. Cheers, folks. Sparkling cider. That's your color.
The St. Lucia, oh, she was a beauty. With features that few surpassed. And in her day, she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully, she fulfilled her sailor's needs. But labor was overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow, causing scandal and roro. Now things look dull, she's at a lull. She could barely sit on a hull, half we balling. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon to do. I say no, I say no. Captain, you tell me what to do.
Folks, while you go, I want you to have a beautiful night. And I got confirmation from one of the airlines that I will be traveling. They will be taking me to St. Lucia in first class business suite very shortly. And we look forward to meeting as many of you. As a matter of fact, we will be having a live broadcast somewhere in St. Lucia. I think Brother Gregory Charles and myself, we're going to be there, and we will be having a live audience broadcast. So you can come and you can view us as we broadcast live in preparation for the convention. And we will be moving from constituency to constituency, meeting with the seniors and the young people in the party. So we will be meeting with seniors, those who are shut-ins, to have discussions with them, and the young people will be meeting with them also. But we will have a live town hall, live broadcast production on the ground there in St. Lucia. As I said, one of the airlines have already confirmed our flight there to the island of St. Lucia. So, folks, enjoy the music, and bonsoir, good night. Sleep good, dormez bien.
In her day of sailing, she was a friend, a true friend to one and all. And in her day, she sailed majestically. No government doing bubble. And yes, well, she always did her best to help out those in distress. Now she don't have money, we have to beg Joffrey. Labour boys don't share, none of them care. We must vote them out, I declare. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we sit on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know. We don't know. You tell me what to do.
It look like you guys don't want to go and sleep, huh? Yes. And by the way, a shipment of Pampers have been sent out to Sky FM. So we will be distributing the Pampers also. My friend Lorraine, my sister Lorraine Hippolyte, good night to you and the husband. Oh boy, we have not spoken properly in a few days, but God bless you and your family.
Going on too long.
BBDD, good night, Pear, good night, Dr. Fletcher, good night. Joella, good night, Money Pukrio, I have to call you. When you're back again soon.
We can't take
hey, James,
with this crew.
Isidore,
Cherubim. We know who's at fault, so it's up to you.
Martin Francis, let's go over to you too quickly. Boss Lady D, good night to you. My favorite and best, Chris Wilson.
Captain.
Yes. Lucy Queen, how are you? Donovan, always there locked in. Folks, I can't read all the names, bear with me, they're going fast.
Shall we sit on it and very slow? I say no.
Judy, how are you? Judy, good night. Marva, good night. Henry, Lloyd Henry Tiny, good night. My friend Gregory Charles, good night to you, sir. Walter James, greetings to you, Charlemagne, Mary Charlemagne, good night. Veronica, good night. And my favorite guy in the block, everyone's my favorite, but Martin Francis, nobody mess with him. You mess with him, and you mess with me. Desmond Frederick, how are you? ISF, good night. Rose Williams, bonsoir, bonsoir. Stephen, how are you? Xavier, Joseph. I couldn't get to all the names. Ferdinand and all the others. Folks, have a beautiful night. God bless you. And please remember to acknowledge God before you go to bed. Remember, a prayer a night will keep the devil away. Read your Bible. Pray every day. You grow, grow, grow. Forget to read your Bible. Forget to pray. You shrink, shrink, shrink. Majunek Ivin Heno. So puede avau dormi bien, friends. And remember to play some gospel music, quiet music, and go to bed on a positive note. God is faithful. He is able to keep you, and may He watch over all of you as you sleep tonight in Jesus' name. Blessings to all, to our YouTube viewers. You came in large numbers tonight, and to our Facebook folks, you came in bigger numbers too. So please subscribe before you leave to our Caribbean American Media and to our Caribbean American Network on YouTube. Please subscribe as we get ready to broadcast from the island of St. Lucia, the island of St. Lucia. We're going to have a live broadcast. You will see how we do it live on the air. We'll have a live audience, and we invite all of you to that event. Blessings, 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 and I'm out. I'm signing out now, folks.